Good morning and welcome to Thursday. Welcome to the Nudelberg Daily Huddle. Good morning to the community. Good morning to our friends. Good morning, gentlemen. How you doing?
So up and out very early this morning. I'm actually at a hotel lobby this morning where I will be attending a sales meeting for Closet Factory so that I can kind of see how it operates. You know, you and I talk about preparation all the time. Starting in July, I manage their sales meetings. So I said, let me come to the one in June, be a fly on the wall. Let me learn. Let me take down notes. Let me get some film. Let me study so that I can show up prepared, not like, well, this is my first time and I don't know what I'm doing.
Well, so I think that's the assumption with a lot of coaches, or a lot of coaches make that mistake, that they just say, well, I know everything, and what I'm going to tell you is what's going to be best for you, without doing any kind of diagnostic, without figuring out what's already in place, what's already working and what's not working, and how can I then take my philosophy or take our philosophy or take what we do well and incorporate that into what you're doing to make you better.
I think, you know, for me, this is a successful organization. I'm actually here to, you know, make it better. The only way to make it better is understand what they're doing right already. You know, it's like to assume that they're a shit show is not smart, you know?
Right. It's not fair. It's not fair to them. And I think that's so important going into any coaching engagement or going into anything, is let's first look at because our LinkedIn strategy is great, but taking it exactly for what we do might not fit into somebody's organization. So understanding how maybe they already use social selling or what they're already doing to then say, great, you guys have actually already set a great foundation. Now we can take you to the next level. Or, wow, you guys are a total shit show. We got to start from the beginning because what you started to do is already wrong, you know?
There's so many instances in my career where I like flubbed it because I didn't do the homework ahead of time. I'm Shay, help me out. Who's the guy that I'm thinking about from Worldwide Express? I just went blank on his name. You know, the guy that we did all of the stuff for, Jim Bennett.
Jim Bennett?
Oh, yeah. So Jim Bennett hires me to come speak to his team in Rochester, give him my fee. Everything's fine. He's excited. I wind up afterwards sending him a note about how cold calling is dead. The guy rips me a new asshole, said, I can't believe I hired somebody that doesn't believe in my strategy. And I'm like, whoa. I said, my bad. I should have prefaced that using the phone is powerful, but you need more backup, so you just got to be prepared. The thing is, you got to put in the work. It shows you would know what the team would play like on Saturday throughout the whole week.
Well, I'll take it even further than that. When I first got hired at the University of Florida, I flew down from Cincinnati. I dropped my bags at the hotel, and I walk in, and they weren't quite ready for me to be there. Like, the HR people weren't ready. Everybody was and Mac was like a madman with going to different press things, and he really didn't have time. So I was like, no worries. I walked down to the videographer's room and I said, hey, can you set me up with last year's game tape? He said, yeah, great. Puts me in the big staff room, and I open up my notepad and I just start buzzing through game after game. And I'm taking notes on players and everything. And it gets like close to lunchtime, and Matt comes like running through the staff room, and he goes, hey, I'm so sorry. And he goes, what are you doing? I said, I just figured I'd just start watching last year's tape so I can start making my notes on all the players to start building the depth chart. He goes, oh my God, I knew it was a good idea to hire you. You know what I mean? It was like, that's what it's about, is to figure out what you already have. I couldn't start doing the job the right way until I knew what was already in place. And I didn't need somebody to tell me that. I just sat down and started doing it.
So, the whole theme this week with Kobe, like making the contract with yourself, like I'm not going to put myself in a position where I show up without the tools, without the understanding of the tools, without the knowledge. I want to know so that because knowing creates absolute certainty. For me, there's no fucking guesswork, man.
Right.
I'm doing oh, good luck. That's where good luck came from.
Yeah,
I don't get good luck. I put the work in. I know I'm going to be prepared. So I know you have a great show.
Yeah, we got a show full of things we're going to talk about when it comes to words, and we're going to talk about Elon Musk. But before we get to any of that, we are way behind on our wake up music. So let's wake up and let's get it going.
Hell yeah. Wake up, everybody. Get up, get up, get up, get up. Wake up, come on, come on. Wake up, everybody. Teach a new way. Maybe then they'll listen what you have to say. Wake up, everybody. No more sleeping in there. No more about to thinking, time of thinking ahead. Come on now.
So, it brings up a point for me when we're talking about all this stuff. People say, like, do you have fear? Are you scared when you get on stage? No. I've already done the work. I've replayed it in my brain so many times. I know the end of the movie. I know it. So
yeah. So not to be confused with nerves, though, because the butterflies are always there. Butterfly, I don't know. There was a video that came out yesterday of Josh Allen. So the match happened yesterday, which
I must tell you is the most boring. I was like,
I didn't even try to tune in, right? But obviously my social media feed was filled with all the little snippets and clips or whatever. And so Josh Allen talked about how he still to this day throws up before every game. So like you're talking about a guy who competes at the highest level and does it as one of the best ones, still pukes before every game. So not to be confused with confidence and nerves are not the same thing. It's not mutually exclusive.
When Jake traveled with me the first time to a speaking engagement, and I don't really remember which one it was, but he was like, "Dad, you look pretty jacked up." And I go, "I am, hands are sweaty." What is that? That song.
You're quoting Eminem now. I love it. So I'm going to reference the power of 3 here because we're talking about confidence. We're talking about how to set yourself up with success and how to overcome nerves. I wrote about it this morning, the power of 3. But we've got 3 basic things that you can start your day with as a daily practice, such as the daily huddle, which are 3 very simple sayings that if you're struggling, if you're dealing with adversity, or you're looking for a way to kind of refocus yourself and align yourself, today I will focus on fill in the blank. Today I am grateful for fill in the blank. And today I will let go of fill in the blank. And I love that it's 3 because 3 is the smallest number that we can remember to create a pattern in our brain. So it's not like it's this whole daily affirmation of all of these things I got to get to. 3 very simple things of what are you going to focus on? What are you grateful for? What are you going to let go of? All 3 really good practices to help refocus yourself and move forward in a positive way.
So that actually turns out to be a daily contract that you're making with yourself. And the key to all of this is to writing it down.
Right.
I was talking with the Sisters of Sistel yesterday, who I love. They're so much fun and so much energy. I don't know if you saw the magazine cover that they're on.
Fantastic cover that they shared. Yeah,
they are a thing, But I asked Kara, I said, "Hey, those are great thoughts." I said, "Do you have them written somewhere?" "No." I said, "They're jumbling around in your head and they're stuck. You're not allowing new stuff to come in. So it's, another Eminem reference, clean out your closet."
Wow. You're on fire today with your Eminem references. I'm going to let you go with those. That's fantastic. So those 3 things, right? And be specific about them. Don't just be, I'm grateful for my dad. You say I'm grateful for my dad every day. be specific about what the actual thing you're grateful for from that person, or, you know, very detailed, because I think it all comes down to the details at the end. So when you get into what you're going to focus on for that day, just don't say, oh, I'm going to focus on business development, right? I'm going to focus on my prospecting. I'm going to focus on how I'm reaching out to people, and I'm going to make sure I got 25 quality outreaches today, or whatever that is.
Lou is on fire too.
First of all, Lou's obviously an M&M fan, because he came through with Mom's spaghetti. Like, he was on it as soon as you started referencing M&M. So it's great stuff. So we're doing great.
This thing about great gratitude, though, is so significant, because it's the really simple things that if you define them, like wake up, go take a breath. You know, wow, I am grateful for the air and the trees and the sun. You know, it's these little things that if you communicate that to the universe, it boomerangs right back at you. So
Lori Kuzneski says that she needed to hear this today. Thanks for being here this morning, Lori. I saw the post that you shared yesterday.
Was that a great post?
Absolutely phenomenal.
About her kid leaving?
To us from Pennsylvania.
So she is part of the True Network. First event I went there, I played cornhole with her and her husband. It was great.
Yeah,
she's so much fun, so full of life, and the stuff she's putting out there was so genuine. It was a great post. Great job.
So when you're focusing on, you know, your gratitude, which helps ground you, keep it simple, keep it detailed, and then don't forget that last part of what you'll let go of. Right. I think that's the part where you were talking about writing, you know, the ideas down in your head to clear it, to make space. It's the same thing when you're carrying that baggage. When you feel heavy, when you feel like it's hard to get through shit, it's because you're allowing things that are outside of your control, or maybe it was in your control, but you're just continuing to beat yourself up about it over and over, whether you didn't get that deal, or you messed up and you didn't follow up correctly, or whatever the mistake was that you're beating the shit out of yourself about. Like, I'm going to see Father Bob this morning to have our follow-up to getting Jules baptized. And part of our faith, which is so important, is that forgiveness. Is that grace and forgiveness that you got to have with yourself, and you got to allow for other people. So good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's so, you know, this stuff's all relevant, but if you looked at your mind as a closet, you can only put so much stuff in the closet. And so, you know, one of the biggest things to let go of is the word control.
Right.
Oh, you know, you can't control everything. You know, There are people like me who thought I could. Yeah. I thought no matter what happened, I could outsell it, I could outmaneuver it, I can out-bullshit it. You really can't. And so if you just control your behavior, one of the things you can't control is letting go.
Right. Exactly correct. So great stuff. Great practice for you to start your day with. We're going to go to morning motivational music, which I believe you are definitely hot-blooded this morning before you go ahead and get involved. Then we'll come back and we'll talk Huddle headlines. Okay, just throwing it out there. That's from 1978.
which the year I graduated high school. So
Yeah,
it's like,
over 40 years ago.
it was right about the time the Top Gun was done.
So, all right, Shay, we are going to talk about what's happening in the news. Shay, give me the Huddle headlines music. I'm not sure that I created this segment, but I'm going to take credit for it, and I think that it's my favorite segment ever now.
You did not create this. Jay created it, so let's call it what it is, man.
I think I named it. Actually, you know what? You know who named it? Lori Solarulo named it Huddle Headlines and came through with the name. And I remember when she said it, I was like, ding, 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 that's the winner. And we're going to carry it on. So
and then music and all of this cool stuff we got is great.
Yeah. Well, Shay did a great job of creating the intro music for it, which definitely makes me feel like I'm in the show newsroom. So first headline, Musk bans remote work at Tesla. So interesting take here, because anytime you see Elon Musk in the news, you're not sure whether or not it's true, whether or not it's a ploy for him to just create more word of mouth for Tesla because they spend $0 on advertising. But this is what happened. Bloomberg, Coach Worsham is here. Coach, great to see you this morning on LinkedIn. I absolutely love to see it. He's coaching in Atlanta. Coach Worsham was my junior varsity football coach at Cooper City High School. And then I went on to recruit one of his players while I was at Lafayette College. But unfortunately, I think he ended up going to like Columbia or something like that. So, Josh, Coach, thanks for being here this morning. So Elon bans, right, remote work from Tesla. What he says is, and so Bloomberg found an email where what he said is telling Tesla executives that they can work from home only after doing 40 hours a week in the office. Employees who don't like the policy should depart Tesla, he wrote in an email to execs that was seen. His demand is at, which he added, is less than we ask of factory workers. Can't confirm that the email was him, but when asked about it, he said that if they don't like working from the office, they should pretend to work somewhere else. Now, I do want to make one comment before we go on to talk about this anymore. Tesla has had 3 million job applications in 2021 to 2022. So the company has 100,000 employees. I think part of what comes out of that is, I don't really care. There's enough people that want to work here. I'm going to do it the way I want it done, regardless of maybe what the temperature and the climate is around us.
So I'm confused by that theory and that philosophy based on such innovation and freedom of idea and freedom of choice and the products that he's getting involved in. And then he shuts it down and goes back to something old school. So the office is not a bad place to be, but it's not the only place where work gets done. And it feels very limiting from a guy who has no boundaries. So I call bullshit.
You think he just put it out there to grab attention?
I think so. I think it is. He went the other way just to stir the pot.
Which is what he does. That is his behavior. And it has worked, right? Like, I've looked into getting a Tesla. You still can't get a Tesla without being on a waiting list. You're looking at least 3 to 6 months before you're able to get one. And they spend no money on advertising. Tesla sells because of 2 reasons. Elon Musk, and the actual product is a good product. That's why it does well.
Okay, so no substitute for a good product. If you don't have a good product, keep staying back. Just pull the covers over your head and just don't even bother. Right. You know, I used to say to people, listen, you think I'm good at this? I could sell a bag of shit. The problem is you get home, it's still a bag of shit.
Right.
So you know, I get that. But you're talking about, you know, a new world, you know, where, you know, when we showed a video once before in the huddle where he talked about he was on the edge of going out of business with SpaceX. Yep. It was, hey, we skipped
down
up
to the
every
last
penny we can.
check.
He said, if this one didn't work, it was over. And I'm going to talk about this tomorrow. The entrepreneurial quality that he brought to the table that said, screw it. I know the risk. I'm going for it. Is so contrary to, I need you to sit at your desk so I can see you working there. That's why I'm saying this doesn't make sense. There's no way. It's like, I don't care where you do the work. Do the work.
So if obviously we have a very loose working environment. I mean, do the huddle from home, do the huddle from a hotel. Yesterday we were in the office together. I think we're going to continue to talk about it. But what's your recommendation for people that have a central location, right, that want people to come to work? What's the right blend? Is it mandating certain days? Is it mandating certain activities? What's the right thing to do to allow people this ability to have control over their life and do what they want to do, but at the same time, hold them accountable?
So it's a great question, and I appreciate the question. I think it's circumstantial, meaning like yesterday, we got in the office. We were supposed to have a meeting that didn't happen. We took the time to meet ourselves, probably the most productive whiteboard session we've had since you've been president of the company. Yep. We asked each other some tough questions. We got answers. We dug deep. And then you suggested we should do this at least once a week in person.
Yep.
So the idea that there's a hybrid, a compromise of the best of both worlds, you're talking to a guy who grew up only knowing black or white. It's hot or cold. I didn't know gray. Gray didn't exist in my world. I had to teach myself that moving to the middle from both sides is really where the good shit happens.
Yep.
There are some people who work really, really well from home. The environment produces itself. Some people don't. Do what makes it work for you. But again, I go back to, you can measure the results. You can't, if the results aren't there, then it doesn't work. Then you need to come to the office.
That's where I think the definition should be, it's not about how many days or how much time, it's what's the body of work, right? And this comes out of a conversation that I just had with the CEO of what's the body of work. If you're unsure about what the body of work is, then there's no way to figure out who the right person is to fit that job, or what should really be done in that role, or what success really looks like. If you can define what the work is and then hold people accountable to the work, if there's not a need for it to be done in an office, don't do it in an office. Do it in a coffee shop. Do it on a park bench. I don't care where it gets done. Do the job that needs to be done. But if you haven't defined that, then you have absolutely no chance at figuring out what the right environment is for work to be done.
So I want to speak. Give me some overtime, Shay. This is good stuff.
Shay's got to find it. Overtime's way down.
And we'll go to overtime.
Thank you, Shay. That was awesome. Mike Green, hope you're feeling better from COVID. So I'll take this just to the sales world. I think for years, and this is what I was preaching pre-pandemic, sales leadership, sales management didn't trust salespeople to do the work.
Yep.
If you don't have the trust, I don't give a shit where you are.
Yep.
The trust is what lives and creates all of the glue that holds teams together. I'm here if you need me. I'm ready. But,
Yep.
all of that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter location. If you are trying to hide, you can hide. You can hide in the office. There's tons of people sit in the office and play fucking solitaire all day.
Yep.
So if you're running from the work, there's a fundamental break there. So my contention is with Elon is that if you're worried about where people are, you have the wrong people.
1,000%. And so the other part of that, and this has been a great project for me within City, is creating visibility to work when you're not there, which gets way misunderstood as micromanaging, right? So people who are like, yeah, we'll let you work from anywhere you want, but I want to be copied on every email. I want to see everything that you're doing. I want a full data breakdown at the end of the day. That's micromanaging, right? But if you were to allow somebody to work and do, and then ask for visibility in, hey, just give me high level. What were the priorities? What were the problems and how you went about solving them? Give me that at the end of the day. I need it in 3 sentences. I need it in a video. I don't care how you give it to me. Just give me that visibility. That's the real next step in, I'm doing this so that I can help you do your job better. And that's really what people want anyway.
So you got Laura shining in, and there is something to being in a silo. If you don't have steady dialogue, virtual is face-to-face. It is connectivity. It doesn't need to be physical. Brian, who leads the team at Hotwire, there are metrics to measure the success no matter where you are. It doesn't, the physicality. Now, this is as true as I can tell you. For years, I would see patterns in my own people. Friday afternoon at 3:00, they're going to see the same prospect. Happens to be 2 miles from their house. It was like, I would call them out and say, listen, why don't you just work that area today? What
right.
You don't need to fake it to me. Be genuine and, upfront and say authentic. Hey, listen, I'm spending that day prospecting that area. And if you don't, I'll see it in 30 days.
Right.
I know the results. You show me a call report and you're not, we've created the metrics, the KPIs on how to use social media. So I think where you are, if that's what you're focused on, it's a gigantic miss.
So, and Laura says, the issue with the feedback loop when not being in the office with the entire team, that comes back to what's your communication strategy? What's the expectation for when people are supposed to communicate, what they're supposed to communicate, and how they're supposed to communicate it? So, Laura, I'd love to grab some time with you and talk about solving that problem for dispersed teams, because the reality for City was they've been work from X for forever. Every retail organization has multiple locations, and the reality is the people can't be in every location every day. So solving the communication loop for dispersed teams and people that are everywhere, the tools have never been greater to be able to do that. You just have to understand how to build a strategy in order to be able to get the information you need.
Laura, that's so true, because the reality is people wind up leaving bosses, not the jobs.
Right.
So Brian puts it out there. He's singing my language in 3: activity, activity, activity. What a great show, my son.
Yeah, great conversation. Have a fantastic Thursday. We're looking forward to seeing you guys tomorrow to finish off the week the right way. Let's get down to business.
Please don't worry about me. I'm about to let my heart speak. My friends keep telling me to leave this. So let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Give you one more night to get this.